Hey, good morning everybody. Happy Monday, y'all. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I know we're getting down to these holidays, so we should start to see a little bit more interesting price action as we start to chew through December here. Had a pretty good rally here these past couple of weeks, and of course we always expect a Santa rally here at the end of the year. A little bit trickier as we rally into it, right? But let's start to see if we maybe get a decent pullback here, maybe this week or into next week. Maybe kind of refresh the board and allow us to then have that Santa rally, right? I'm gonna go through some names here real quick, but I'm also, of course, as usual, just gonna go through our economic calendar here real quick. This week looking pretty quiet, not a single Fed speaker, so looking pretty good on that end. Our usual data drops here, right? Initial jobless claims Thursday, unemployment on Friday, yada yada yada. But more important here, looking to next week. Next week looking pretty stacked. We've got CPI on Tuesday, we've got PPI on Wednesday, and then Uncle Powell here on Wednesday as well, towards the end of the session, but in the middle of the session here with an interest rate decision. So definitely going to be an interesting week, I would say, this week going into all of this next week, right? So got to keep in mind here what big money has on the back burner, right? They're definitely going to be setting up here for all of that next week. With these next couple sessions, and let's see what we end up getting here ultimately. But alright, let's dive into some names here real quick. And starting to fall back into this range here on ES. Right, so gotta be careful here, right? Falling just back into this usual range that we've been really struggling to get out of here. We've got a lot of lower time frame squeezes. Got this bigger 4-hour squeeze, which really stretched itself out here, but is staying intact. So we definitely got some levels to work with here. Let me throw my spaghetti at this real quick. We've got this point of control here from November, getting back down to it now on ES. And of course, just been keeping an eye on this daily Kellner, these daily Kellner channels here, as we have been trying to grind up that top one, right? Let's see if we start to maybe put in a little reversion to the mean here. Finally, got the mean down here near this 4,500. Not a bad level, and we've also got the September point of control here. So not a bad target here to the downside. Definitely not saying it happens today. Maybe happens by the end of the week if we get some true downside this week. And again, would just be a nice little pullback here. A nice little opportunity here to buy the dip, right? Maybe going into the rest of the month here, the rest of the year. So a couple good levels here for some targets to the downside. Again, looking to maybe hold this point of control this morning and maybe have a little bit of a bounce here at the bell. And then who knows, maybe we go right back to highs from there, or we roll over and continue lower. But for now, just going to worry about this current point of control. Point of control from November here. And this low from Friday. NQ, I know, already cracking through this point of control from November. Let me throw my levels at it here. And NQ a little bit weaker here than ES and then YM, which we will look at here in just a moment. But never really left this range on NQ, and if anything, just been kind of holding on here to the bottom of this range, right? Looking up here at this daily chart. Getting pretty close to this mean. So NQ definitely on tap here for a reversion to the mean, possibly today. But let's see if it happens here just throughout the week, right? Again, expecting maybe a little bit of a bounce here at the bell, since we are at some significant levels now. And we've only got a few minutes here till open. YM a stronger index here, looking like ruddy as well here. Our small caps also with a similar look here. But YM above this third Kellner channel to the upside, right? Cracked through this 36,000. You know, a little bit tough here for YM to just keep cranking higher. Let's refer to this weekly as we have been, right? So maybe a little bit more room here on the weekly. Maybe not too heavy of an ask. But even on this weekly chart, still smashing through recent highs, right? So again, could need a little bit of a break here for YM. So maybe we do get some downside here this week across the board, right? Or ultimately we see what we have been seeing, what we hate to see, right? YM down and NQ back up, and we continue rotation, and ES goes nowhere, right? Always a very, very real scenario. I'm just going to quickly crank through some names here. Apple, our biggest name in the market, of course, still just chilling in this range, right? It was coming down, looking like she was maybe going to drip her way down to the mean, but got a nice bounce here on Friday. A little bit of a gap down this morning and fading back, but let's see, right? Just got to keep watching Apple here within this range. Obviously having a pretty decent gap down here across the market. So got to be careful here at open. Just got to let things settle, right? Doesn't matter really the name that you play. Just give it a little chance to settle here. AMD coming down here with a nice looking H here in the after hours and pre-market. Let's see if we get down and test this 118.5-ish, 118.65. And ultimately pretty close to this daily mean right here. So a reversion to the mean. Not a heavy ask here for AMD. So again, we are getting some decent downside here this morning. A lot of names gapping down, so got to be careful with these downside plays, right? Maybe allow a bounce to happen first, right at the open, right? But you got to be careful with just jumping into a short here right at the open, because we might eat a bounce first. Amazon looking pretty decent here either direction, actually. Love that it already has gotten some downside here in the past couple of weeks, right? Leaving this third Kellner channel to the upside, but trying to stay near it. I don't mind Amazon here in either direction off of this 145. Right at this November point of control as well. So pretty good level here to work with, right? Can risk off of this point of control. Target to the downside would be this daily mean, or at least these lower time frame squeezes here. Obviously getting near them here now. But let's see if we get a bounce back up to this point of control, and we have a good entry here in either direction. Google continuing to fade here under the daily mean. Don't mind it here either direction. Really been struggling to get through this daily Ichimoku cloud, as we can see right here. So again, still at a good spot to easily crack through this cloud and try to turn it into support. So let's see, right? We're right at this 130 right now on Google. Great level to risk off here. In either direction, really. So don't mind Google either way. Meta getting down to this daily 50. Definitely going to open right at it, or maybe even right below it. So Meta cracking under this daily 50. I definitely like Meta short here. If we can turn this daily 50 back into support here at the open, could rally off of this daily 50, maybe get some upside. Don't mind Meta either way here. But having cracked under this daily mean, wouldn't be surprised if we maybe just keep going lower. Might depend on the whole market here. Microsoft finally having a nice little dip here since its last reversion to the mean, right? Having a strong little dip, maybe gets down, might open right at this mean. So honestly, this might be a good name here to the upside. Microsoft been really strong here, getting bought up every day that it's had little dips. Would be a little bit more hesitant to short such a strong name. But again, you know, we're down at this daily mean. A good level to put on risk. Could be either direction here. We'll see. Netflix, a similar look, right? Another really strong name here. Riding on the outside of this third Kellner channel here to the upside. Right, again, having a nice little dip, could continue lower down here to this daily mean. Might open up right at it, to be honest, but we'll see. Right, again, hesitant to short such a strong name, but ultimately, if the whole market gives, probably no name will be safe here to the downside. NVIDIA cracking under this low from Friday, under the mean here now the last couple of sessions. NVIDIA not a bad one here to continue lower. I like this daily 50 here to the downside. Doesn't quite get us to 450, but is a pretty good target here on the way down to 450. And we've also got this daily Ichimoku cloud top right at 450 as well. So I really like NVIDIA here. Honestly, either way off of this 462. But if we do stay below this low from Friday, not a bad little target here to get down to this daily Ichimoku cloud top. Nice little shelf here. Gets us to this daily 50 as well. And just going to jump over here to Tesla. I kind of already talked about Qs and SPY. Tesla just trying to hang on to the mean here. Probably going to depend here on what the market does overall to see what Tesla does. But I like this hold here, right? I've been trying to hold up right at this gap, holding on to the daily mean. Really like Tesla to the upside here if we can continue to hold on to these moving averages. But alright, y'all. Crank through this list real quick. Gonna leave this open here. Got about a little bit more than a minute and a half, about a minute and a half here, y'all. Get your water, get your coffee, get whatever you need. And let's get this party started. I'm going to have up here Meta and SPY. I like, again, Meta here. Either direction, really, but going to see if we can get this downside going below this low from Friday. And I'm going to have SPY open here. I've got the 460 call for tomorrow here open on SPY. And I've got this 450 put here open for SPY, also expiring tomorrow. But going to be really patient here at open. It is a Monday. We are having quite a little bit of a gap down here. So definitely not going to rush into any positions. Again, we've got some decent economic events here coming up next week. So let's see. Not going to get too crazy here this morning. Not going to rush into anything. Really need to see this market put in another leg here before I'm interested in jumping into anything. Right, we've got some good levels here, possibly for a bounce. Let's see what we get here. But alright, y'all, here we go. Ding, ding, ding. So again, we're down here at some good levels for a possible bounce, right? ES getting down to this point of control from November. We've also got the daily 8 exponential moving average here. This is this teal or cyan colored line, this 45.64. We've got this low from Friday here as well. We did crack under the open from Friday here, this dotted line without a label. So let's start to see if ES can hang on to this 45.60, 45.65-ish, and maybe start cranking higher here. Again, we've got NQ here as well, right at this low from Friday. We did crack under that point of control from November and our destination buy zone. So again, I just want to see if these indices here can hold these levels, which could be a decent bottom for the day possibly, right? But again, it's the open right now, so definitely not going to throw money at that just yet. Want to see, and I want to wait to see if these levels here are going to prove themselves as a possible bottom here this morning. We had tick open pretty low here, about negative 1250. As always, looking for this initial zero test on tick, right, and what that reaction looks like. And we're getting some rotation here out the gate this morning. Not surprised after a decent leg down. YM catching a really nice pop here as NQ starts to grind a little bit lower. And again, just looking back here on ES, right, we're right back to pretty much the middle of this range here from the last couple of days, right, opening right at this point of control from November and this daily 8 exponential moving average. So again, going to be really patient here, right? I usually like to try and get into positions either at the top of these squeezes or at the bottom of these squeezes, and then play either through them or the bounce back to go to the other side. Right, but we're opening here right in the middle. Do have a nice level to risk off of, which is this point of control, but again, gotta wait and see what side the market chooses to be on. Right, definitely not sure about that just yet. But along here with a nice horizontal level, which is this point of control for ES, again, we do have it for YM here as well, our destination buy zone, giving us a nice little zone here to put on some risk when appropriate. And NQ as well, right? We have this low from last week, the low from Friday. We got some lower time frame squeezes here. Oop, and a 4-hour squeeze, decent squeeze here. Again, giving us a good level here to put on some risk, right? We're also just right under this point of control from November, also giving us a nice little level here to risk against. But again, going to be patient here this morning, opening up in the middle of this range here on ES. Let me go back over to NQ. I know NQ is probably near the bottom actually. And yep, NQ here near the bottom of this range. Again, looking like we might get a little reversion to the mean here if NQ does break below this 4-hour squeeze right here. Getting a nice little pop here across the board though. NQ with a nice little pop. ES getting back above this open from Friday. And getting it back up to this 45.75. Been a key level here for us. And as you can see here on my screen, a previous point of control. Nice bounce here for tick as well, getting up to 0 and cracking through 0. So of course, always looking for this initial test of 0 here on tick, right? So let's start to see if we continue to print some price action above 0, or if we fall back below and start to print these bodies here in negative territory, right? It should start to give us a little bit more of a clue in which direction we're going to go here. Had a nice drive up from the dollar here this morning, giving us this downside in the market here, pre-market. Something I'm going to also keep an eye on here is the dollar, right? See if we start to maybe pull back here, which would give us some upside in the market. And of course here ADD, keeping an eye on, had a decent negative open right at this negative 1700, a key level we have come to find here on ADD. But a nice little pump here for ADD so far, getting above this open range sell zone. And let's see if it gets up here to this open level from Friday. Would get us to our destination sell zone as well, not too far off from it. So let's see, you know, could be a point of rejection for ADD. Tick already pulling back here to negative. Might have us a rollover here on our hands. See how our contracts are doing here. And of course, puts opening up pretty jacked up out here. Not surprised at all after this movement that we've had. Let's see, and I got this 460 call here for tomorrow, just right above Beast right here, holding its open level as well. But definitely not loving the look of a lot of these contracts, so definitely gonna wait here. Really nice pump up here for YM, continuing strong here amongst our indices. And after a nice pop here, starting to stall a bit. Let's start to see if we get this rollover. ADD getting up to this destination sell zone. Possible point here for ADD to roll over. And let's start to see if we maybe start to get some rotation here after this little pop. NQ starting to pull back here a little bit. YM holding up here at VWAP. Seeing a little rotation here after this pop. Always especially stressing some patience here on a Monday. Right, big money knows that retail traders show up here on a Monday morning, accounts loaded, ready to sling some trades, right? Had a gross little pre-market move here, and of course some rotation right at the open, right? Just gotta let this retail slaughterhouse play out, and then we'll get some good trades here in a little bit. But especially here on a Monday morning, not going to rush into anything. Just got to let these indices settle and choose a direction here. VIX starting to bounce here a bit. We got YM holding up here. I'm assuming Ruddy is catching some love. Yep, Ruddy still pumping here a bit as well with YM. And a little bit higher here on YM. Holding above VWAP. NQ taking a little break here. So ADD really being driven here by YM and by small caps. But again, up in this destination sell zone, let's start to see, right, if we maybe slowly start to get a rollover here. Yeah, tick just starting to flatline here a bit at 0. Not surprised as we get this rotation. And a little bit of a pop higher here for ES. Alright, getting dragged here a bit by YM and by Ruddy. YM going higher here, baby. Let's go. But again, this 45.75 here for ES is going to be tough. We're also at this 5-minute 21. And trying to crack back into or above our destination buy zone. So even though it's our destination buy zone here, this green zone, it does act as resistance when we're testing it from below here. And we're getting exactly that here as we try to crack back into this little zone. But again, just this key psych level of 45.75 and this 5-minute 21 also just holding us down here a bit along with our destination buy zone. And still getting this rotation, right? YM going a little bit higher here. NQ right back down to its lows. And a fresh low here on NQ. And again, we're not too far off from the mean here, right? I said it this morning, could possibly be today, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but again, we're not too far off. And starting to crack into our open range zone here on YM, getting back above our open range buy zone. Again, another green zone here given by our beast tool. And we're not too far off from this open level here on YM. NQ with a little bounce, trying to hold up here. Sticking close to this 4-hour squeeze bottom. And just to answer a little question here we got in the YouTube chat, anyone who is new to us or is new to trading in general watching this now, you are welcome to join our Discord for free via the link here in the description of this video. We provide a ton of resources here for newer traders or older traders even, you know, always some good info in there for all levels of experience. So definitely would recommend checking us out there. Totally free. And a bunch of resources in there available to you immediately as soon as you join. So tech really being held back here. Everything else seems to really be ripping. Let's check out these small caps again. Oof, yeah, ruddy, taking off here. And again, ES trying to crack a little bit higher here on this push from YM and Ready, but continuing to be held back a little bit by NQ. Still struggling with this 45.75. Again, only been about 20 minutes here, y'all. Just gonna come take a quick peek here at some of our bigger names. Apple fallen here, pretty decent. Continuing this downside here after this gap down this morning. So yeah, definitely being held back by tech here. Apple again, our biggest name on the market. AMD coming down to test this daily mean, almost there. Oh, Amazon with a decent drop here as well. Again, looking like we might actually touch this mean here. Got pretty close to it here in the last couple of weeks, but looking like we might actually test it here today. Google dropping as well, already under that daily mean, of course, and coming back down to fill this gap right back down to the bottom. Google, trash. Alright, Meta under that daily 50, we talked about it, right? Said we could maybe open right at it. Sure enough, we did, and continuing lower here on Meta. Nice little short here. Oh, Microsoft's. Again, you know, like most names here this morning, catching that gap down, opening above the mean, but immediately cracking through it. Decent. Oh, Netflix came down, touched that daily mean, and caught a nice little bounce. Okay, with the bounce here. I like that, I like that. And oh, NVIDIA coming right down to exactly what we talked about, the top of this daily Ichimoku cloud and this daily 50 here. All at about this 450-ish, 452-ish here. Could be a nice level here for NVIDIA to bounce. Let's see if they maybe start to bounce tech itself, right? It's been a couple minutes. I know we did just peak here, another low of day. But again, we could settle here for a little bit and eventually maybe get some rotation back. Going a little bit lower here on NQ. ADD, nice pump here. Damn, ADD getting positive here. Getting up to our beast zone. But again, still hesitant here that NQ could continue to drag us down. or maybe as well here a rollover from YM and from IWM could really start to drag us down as well. And let's see here. Man, this 450 put for tomorrow, really this cheap? Let's jump up 5 points here. This 455 for tomorrow. Pretty much right there, only 72 cents. Interesting. Well, these calls continuing to look pretty good here. If we do get this bounce, like in this 460 call for tomorrow, only here at about 36 cents, not a bad one. Really going to be keeping a close eye on ADD here over the next couple minutes, as we have gotten here to our main beast zone. Could definitely be a nice little reversal here. Or if we can get through, it should be a decent leg higher. But usually we get a pretty good move off of this zone right here. Tick coming back to negative. Come back and check on some names here. NVDA, again, really like this level here that NVIDIA has gotten to. Also our destination buy zone here. Again, we are looking just now at NVIDIA coming down to bounce this daily 50 as well as bounce this daily Ichimoku cloud. Could be a nice little move back up here for NVIDIA. Catching a really nice bounce there for now. Okay, looking like we might get a little bit of a curl over here. But again, sometimes these curls are eternal. And of course, you know, trading options here, and especially short-term options, gotta be really careful with the timing, right? I know that it definitely something that gets us, something that gets me pretty frequently still even, is just getting into a position too early, right? Just gotta let these things play out a little bit and get in on it on the retest, right? Ooh, VIX starting to crack a little bit higher here, cracking through this pre-market high, could have us a little roll here. A little bit lower here on tick as well. And starting to get that pullback here in YM, getting it in Ruddy as well, I'm assuming. Yep. Down to VWAP here on Ruddy. And on YM. Let's see if we start to crack under them. YM starting to crack under VWAP now. Oh yeah. VIX popping here. I'm not surprised to see we're going to see probably tech here hold up kind of decent as YM and Ruddy pull back. Really nice pop here for VIX. And really what we're looking for here, right, is are we going to get this rotation back, or are we going to get a rug pull across the board? Right, YM and Ruddy starting to pull back here, you know, expecting either NQ to get that rotation, right? They're going to pop NQ and then again just keep ES parked, or do we sell across the board, right? NQ still looking weak, could just continue lower here with the rest of the market. And ES cracking back below this open level from Friday. Tick with a little bounce, but rejecting here before getting to 0. And VIX going a little bit higher. This 455 put hanging on nicely here to our open range buy zone, getting from about 75 cents here, 70 cents, up to almost $1 here. Decent move on this 455 put for tomorrow. But tech not really falling off a cliff here just yet, so let's see if they just continue to hold us here. Or could even see a bounce here from YM and Ruddy, right, which again just takes us higher. Ruddy at this open level here. A little bit under VWAP. VWAP is these white triangles on my chart. Little pullback in ADD right at our zone here, provided by our beast tool. Right at our B zone, coming right back to our destination sell zone. All these levels here provided by our beast tool, which is coded here in-house. Why I'm trying to go a little bit lower here, dragging ES a little bit more as well. But again, nothing too crazy here. This 460 call getting down to a good spot here for tomorrow, right? As SPY arrives here at its open from Friday and its open from today. Wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce here for SPY and a bounce here for this 460 call. See what this SPX chain is looking like. Got a couple things at beast here on both sides. Starting to get that bounce here just a bit. And NVIDIA with a nice bounce here right off that daily 50 to the cent pretty much. Meta, nice bounce. Man, this 325 call here for Meta. Damn near a buck, hitting up to a $1.75 here. But again, keeping an eye on internals here. Tick with a little bounce to try and crack through zero and go positive again. But right back to negative. ADD not really bouncing here. Definitely a tricky spot here for the market, and definitely some tough price action here. Right, had some good clear rotation here this morning, couple good trade opportunities here, and again at a good level here to put on some risk, but just got to be careful with the timing, of course, right? Especially after a decent move pre-market, you know, they don't really have to do anything. Right, big money doesn't have to do anything here this morning. So definitely, you know, if you're trading indices as well, right, or ETFs, got to be careful here because they'll kind of just go nowhere. You know, these individual names kind of giving some better trades here. See what like this 465 look like here for NVDA. Oof, holding right at our open range buy zone. Pretty good look here for this 465 call. Still early in the week, so not too volatile, but still catching about 3725 here. Definitely a nice one. But you know, getting a very typical pattern we see here, right? A nice downside leg here pre-market, and then we start to put in an H, right? A lowercase h right here. And as always, as we talk about, these lowercase h's are really great, great spots here to put on some risk, really in either direction, right? So, but for right now, a little bit tricky here as we slow down. But really like these lowercase h's for an entry in either direction, right? You know, you can get up here near the top in a short, right, and play it through the base of the H, right? Getting some good confirmation on your move as you break through the bottom of the H, or vice versa, right? You get up here, you put on a short, and then you pop higher. Well, you immediately know you're wrong, right? And you can get out of that position for a small cut. And then the inverse here, right? We're starting to dip down a little bit. If you believe in upside as we don't complete the H, right? Buyers holding it up before getting down to the base of the H, right? You got yourself a nice little upside play. Again, confirmation through the top of the H. Or if we start to pull back and test the bottom of the H, well then you know you're wrong very quickly and can bail out for a small cut. But overall here, ES just hanging on to this open level from Friday. Still holding above this point of control here from November. Definitely a very strong level here for us. But internal's just kind of snoozing now, right? We're starting to just cross back and forth over 0 here on tick. And ADD also just right here at 0, just kind of hanging on here above our destination sell zone after a nice pump up here from ADD, but just kind of hanging on here near our B zone. And again, they're just making this lowercase h kind of tough here, right? But not surprised after a decent move here before the bell, right? Again, you know, they had a nice move here before the bell. They don't have to do anything after the bell. And if anything, the less they do here in the opening minutes of the week, the more confusion they set into the retail trader, right, into us. Plenty of people making mistakes here this morning and big money just collecting cash. And it's only been about 45 minutes, still got plenty of session left, right? We'll get some moves here into lunch and into the afternoon. See how our baby SPX is doing over here. Let's pull up some contracts for this baby. Let's check out, I guess this 45.75, some good volume, nice psych level. Feels a little bit cheap for only being about 5 points off, but we'll see. And we'll go to like 45, what, maybe 50. Let's see. And you know, just looking at these strikes here, right, we're at 45, 66-ish here, 67, so really only about 7 points off from this call, sitting at about $2.50. And then we go down here to 45.50, which we're damn near 20 points from, and it's actually more expensive. So let's see, you know, just based on price action here for these individual contracts, it could be some puts here. Oof, and a nice break here to the downside on NQ. YM and Ruddy trying to hold up. Let's see. Probably Ruddy trying to hold up still. Ruddy even bouncing a little bit. ES with a little dip, a little pop. Let's see, let's see. Let's see here, calling out some 45.40 as well. Let's see, oh, down here at a buck. I like that, I like that. Quite a few points off though. Let's maybe see this 45.45. Also looking pretty good here near 2. But just kind of slow here still, right? We've got some good levels here just below us on ES, right? So, you know, if we're going to get a downside move here, and ooh, NQ going a little bit lower. If we're to get a real downside move here from ES, I'm expecting a crack below these levels here, right? This point of control, this daily 8, this low from Friday. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down, test these, catch another little bounce, and then go lower, right? I doubt we will just fall right through these. Already caught a bounce at them once, expecting a little bit of turbulence to get through them a second time. But again, won't be surprised at all to see us just continue to chop here for another portion of the morning. But we do like to see NQ starting to make some moves here, right? Starting to crack below this 4-hour squeeze bottom. But again, as we do continue to just linger here, right, on ES, you know, I'm really looking for these couple little levels as a spot to put on some risk, right? Looking for the crack below it, though, if we are to continue here to the downside. Or again, a possible bounce here as we do test these 3 levels. These calls continuing to drop here. All right, really pushing now down into this daily 8 here through this point of control. Let's see if we print a fresh low of day here on ES. And Q going lower here. Nice, nice. So got to be careful here, right? Again, expecting probably a bounce right here. Doesn't mean we'll go continue lower. but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a little bounce here first and then the continuation lower. NQ looks to be on a mission to get down to this daily mean, not too far off from it here. And let's see, NQ with an ATR of about 216. Damn, we are through that now. So NQ definitely doing more than a day's worth of work here. Again, not too far off from this daily mean, but again, already putting in more than the usual juice here. Within a day here for NQ. But they're dropping this baby. Here we go. Again, let's see if we get this bounce here. See how these specs puts are moving. Nice. Nice here. See what this 50 did. Nice. Making some moves here. Alright. And still trickling a little bit lower here. Not bad. NQ looking like she's going for that mean. And Q going a little bit lower here. And again, I of course love this target here on ES of this 45.50. If we get there, NQ should get down to this mean. ES back to these lows, trickling a little bit lower. Let's go. We got VIX coming back up to these highs after this pop and dip. See if we start to get a little pop back up here. Wouldn't mind seeing a little pop back up to maybe test this point of control, give us another little H to continue lower, maybe before getting to this 45.50. Tick struggling to get up here through zero. Again, coming up to test it and a little rejection. Definitely good to keep an eye on tick and ADD here. See if ADD tries and hold right here to bounce. If tick maybe starts to work its way through zero here. See if we get a little bounce. Alright, I'm going to wrap up my session here. I'll be back on here Thursday and Friday morning. So I hope to see you all then. Again, if you are new to us, new to trading in general, please check out our Discord. You can join it for free via the description here in this video. Tons of free market resources here to really help improve your learning curve here, right? Definitely spend some time in there, dig through some of the stuff we have in there, and it will definitely propel your trading journey forward without a doubt. But alright, y'all, hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Keep an eye on these couple levels we've been talking about. Keep an eye on these internals, as they will definitely tell you the overall direction here that this market is going to keep giving us, alright? Alright, y'all, much love, and I will catch you guys later.